Hey guys, Dark Humility here. You can always catch me at www.twitch.tv/darkhumility for 6 to 7 days a week of Diablo 2 action, D2R and PD2 around the reset times, and of course we're going to be going hard on the hardcore ladder, going to 99, ideally on a sorceress, starting on April 28th, 5 p.m. PST, which is the ladder reset. You can also catch the rest of my build guides and all of my other guides on my YouTube here or at d2.maxful.gg. Today we are making a redo of our Finding Mephisto guide on Battle.net map generation. So that means on Battle.net, where the map resets every time. Yes, there are cues and there are clues, and there is a solid method for finding Mephisto faster than you would otherwise by aimlessly teleporting throughout the Durance. So we'll kind of go over how do we reliably find Mephisto as fast as possible most of the time, the kind of structure of the map, and then might demo or at least explain what an ideal map looks like. So if you're on single player, you can also find that as well. So alright. The first thing we need to explain here in this Finding Mephisto guide, how do you find Mephisto on Battle.net map generation, is what is a starting block. So a starting block is the area where you initially spawn into a map, and in this case we're going to use the Durance 2 Waypoint as our frame of reference. This is usually where you're going to start out. If you are trying to search out Mephisto as fast as possible, farm as efficiently as possible on your sorceress. And if you want to get rich, ladder start coming up very shortly. Anyway, so this area, this whole starting area is a starting block. So that whole like rectangular area is the starting block. Every starting block points in a particular direction. So in the case of the Durance 2 Waypoint, it points this way, where I'm walking. I'm walking in this direction here. It is pointing this way. You see, follow my mouse cursor, it's pointing that way. Alright, so what we're looking for when we search out the Durance 3 starting block, or the Durance 3 block, or the area where Mephisto can be found, we're looking for a block that is facing to the left or to the west relative to how the starting block is facing. So this block is facing this way, which means if you follow my cursor, the Mephisto block will be facing to the west, but the Durance 3 exit being on the far end of that block. So we're looking for a block facing to the left or to the west, which will be at a 90-degree angle to this block. So what does that mean? That means that block can be anywhere throughout Durance, but because it's a west or left facing block, it is most likely to be directly to the left, either behind us and to the left, or in front of us and to the left. So the most efficient way to farm Mephisto most of the time is to immediately go to the left of however this block is facing. If it's facing that way, we're going to go this way. Normally, what do you know? So we found it pretty fast there. I know this isn't scripted or rigged or anything. This is being done on Battle.net on a hardcore sorceress I have here. Fully geared up to Blizzard sorceress and whatnot. There you have it. No games, no nothing. It's facing this way. This block here is facing this way. This whole area here, even outside of this like line area, this whole area here, this whole block is facing this way. It's facing, following my cursor, it's facing this way. So that block's facing this way, this block's facing west or to the left. Now, in this case, it's pretty much immediately to the left, and that's usually how it is, which is why if you want to find Mephisto as fast as possible, normally you want to be checking immediately to the left, maybe to the top and to the left, or to the bottom and to the left. I'll try to demo a few more of those, of course. Another very important thing to mention is that it could also be immediately behind you or to the side of you. It could even be to the right, but it's still facing to the left. It can be anywhere and still facing to the left, but normally because it's facing the left, it's directly behind. So Mephisto, of course, is always beyond this bridge here. And you can kill Mephisto very easily if you have a very strong character like mine. Next kill, though, I'll demo how to use the moat trick in case you're not familiar with a way to kill Mephisto, a much weaker character. And we can do that as well. Alright, so let's show you guys a few more demos of exactly what to look for here so you guys can become even more confident that you can find Mephisto reliably on Battle.net. Alright, so let's load up another one here. Alright, so first we have to identify once again where your starting block is. Okay, so this whole area here, this whole rectangle, once again, where the waypoint is located is the starting block. This whole block is facing this way, where my cursor, just follow my cursor, it's facing this way. It's going outwards this way, where my sorceress is walking, so it's going to be to the left or to the west. So in this case, it's going to be this way. Alright, so just if you turn this block around and kind of superimpose it where the other one was the last time, it's literally pointing the same direction, but this time the block is facing out this way. So we need to go to the west or to the left and find the exit somewhere on this side. And once again, it can be directly behind us, or it can even be to the right of us. Okay, this is a great demo, actually, of an ideal map. So if you are playing single player and you're not playing Battle.net, this is a map you want to save. You don't want to change difficulties anymore. You just want to stay on this difficulty and start power farming Mephisto, because this is what we call an ideal map. It's a map where the exit is literally 1 or 2 hops away from the waypoint. In this case, it's like 2 hops away from the waypoint. It could be directly behind you as well, or it could be directly in front of you to the left. This map is a little strange, though, in some ways, though. Let's kind of explain that here. So you might be like, Dark Humility, wait, it wasn't to the left. Normally you want to start searching out that way to the left. That's right, but of course the first thing you should always check, like I just checked here, is it actually right next to the waypoint? That's an easy thing to check. And in this case, as you can see here,
it's locked.
The block, this whole block here, is still facing this way. So it's facing this way. It's facing to the left relative to how this block is facing. So I didn't lie to you. No matter what, no matter where it is in Durance, it will always be facing to the left or to the west relative to where the entrance block is facing. No matter what. In this case, though, technically it is to the right and facing to the left. So that's why you should always check immediately around the waypoint once again. And if you don't find anything immediately around the waypoint, that is where the next step would be to look to the left, because normally it's immediately to the left or to the west of the waypoint, however it's facing. Okay, so in this case, it was right next to it. So this is what we call an ideal single-player map. GG. When I kill Mephisto, even with a weak sorceress, I always like to make sure you've killed all the council members. You can always kill the council members with a fire character, so Hydra can kill them, or a cold character, which can kill them more often even, except sometimes Brem's Sparkfist has some nasty immunities. But the council members have amazing loot tables. Popping them before you get to Mephisto is efficient, in my opinion. As long as your damage is at least like 2,000 loot or something. And so right here, if we use the moat trick, you can kill Mephisto by trapping him just over the moat here. Just out of range where he can't even really hit us. And then bam, we're good to go. So you can do this over here. You can spawn Hydras over here. You can spawn Blizzards. You can spawn Orbs. Orbs are a little bit harder because you have to stand perfectly still, so you might be able to hit you a bit easier. But overall, you get him stuck here. He can't move over the moat. And you just cast him, he's dead. So not only can we find Mephisto, we can kill him easily. Alright, you know what? Let's ID this unique ring he dropped in the last run there. 24 Angel Ring. Wow. Not very good. Alright, so let's do a couple of more demos here once again. I'm going to go a little bit faster now, because I think I've kind of explained a few different orientations of the starting block here. Alright, so in this case, the starting block is oriented the same way as the last time. Alright, so we check the sides, there's nothing there, so it's oriented this way, so we're going to go immediately to the left or to the west, because that's normally what you're going to find, and voila, there it is. Once again, no rigs, no nothing. I'm just using pure game knowledge. It's map hack in your brain. You don't need map hack to do this. You don't need nothing. This is how you get rich quick starting the ladder. This is how you navigate Mephisto like a boss. Get it. Alright, anyway, so once again, it's facing this way, which means it's going to be to the west and to the left. This whole block here, the exit block for Durance 3 is facing, once again, to the left or to the west. In this case, it's almost immediately to the left. Not quite like it was the first time, but it's pretty close. And it might be up there to the left. Once again, it could, if it wasn't here, I'd start checking this area. Now I'd check this area. I'd check this area. And so on. Now, and then I'd even maybe start teleporting up here. Sometimes there's like a block that's facing to the left all the way up here. That can happen. Now let's see if we can get some more demos. I want to get a really hard one just to show you guys. Like sometimes it's not super easy. The most common scenarios though are that it is immediately to the west or to the left, or the block is facing that way relative to how the starting block is facing. That's always the case, and so you should almost always go immediately to the left or to the west, or you should check immediately around the waypoint. However, sometimes that's not the case. So in this case, once again, we got another very easy one. That's a very, very easy one there. Just the block is facing this way, it's immediately to the left. And so that's why I always check that, because that is what's going to get you to that area fastest, no matter what. No matter what, this is the most efficient way to find Mephisto on Battle.net. Now, it can be also helpful to know how the map is pointing. So if it wasn't over here, which it is in this case, this whole map is going kind of to the right. It's kind of, the whole map is going to the right. Now that's not what we want to do normally to find a left-facing block. But sometimes you have to go to the right, and then go up, and then find a left-facing or a west-facing block up there. Or it might even be behind us. Because there is a lot of this map that's pointing down. So it could be behind the waypoint, you know, go to the right, go down, and then there's a west down-facing block that way, kind of where my cursor is pointing this way. So that can easily happen too. Let's see if we can find actually a couple of scenarios where that is the case. After I'm done kind of showing off maybe some other ones, maybe get a hard scenario here, I'll show you also how to find Durance 3 from the Durance 2 entrance, and just how Durance works in general, and of course how to find like the waypoint from the Durance entrance in case you want to find it easy and you don't have the waypoint yet. Alright, anyway, so this whole block here is now pointing this way. This is actually a different orientation, so this time it's this way. Follow my cursor, follow my character this way. This whole rectangle here is pointing this way. So, because it's pointing this way, you want to go to the left or to the west. Once again, because it's going to be a west or to a left facing block relative to the positioning of the starting block. So the whole map this time is kind of going to the left. It makes it a little tougher. It could have been in that area there. Oh, no, it's way up here. So this is a little bit of a tougher one. But as you can see, I still found it relatively fast. There's still probably like 70–80% of Durance that is unexplored, which means we didn't have to teleport aimlessly throughout here. We still knew that it's facing this way and it's to the west or to the left. So we started looking immediately to the west or to the left. And then we just kind of followed this whole map here, and we eventually found it at the very top here of this map, Durance 3. So yeah, it's not always as easy. We've actually gotten some pretty lucky maps, actually, going through here. But this general knowledge, though, will avoid you having to teleport aimlessly throughout the map. And that is the whole point of this video. Alright, so in this case, it's pointing this way. This whole block is pointing this way. Follow my character. I think this is where it was pointing in the first one. Now we can see there's some stuff behind us here, so once again, we might want to check immediately behind us. There's nothing immediately behind us. Could be right here. No, nothing there either. Alright, so if we go up here, we start going up this way, we want to look for a west or left facing block, so normally we want to teleport to the left. But we can see here that the map is actually pulling us to the right. So this one is probably going to be a bit harder. I can already tell that's probably going to be the case. So we went all the way to the right, and now the map is forcing us down. And if that's the case, it might be all the way down here and to the left. You can get some really bad maps like this. This is one of the worst cases, I would say. Let's see here. Okay. Wow, so see, this is a west or a left facing block, if you follow my cursor here, relative to how this block is facing. But it's not here. And in this case, it was all the way over here, so we had to go behind us. So in this case, like I've said before, sometimes it can be behind you and to the left. That would probably be the first thing I'd check. So normally, like if the whole map is going to the right, I'd then double back. So what I would do is I'd do this. Let's see here. Oh, oops. Let's reset my mini map here. All right. So if I start here and I go up here and the whole map's pulling me to the right, I'd actually probably check this back area here and then see if I can go behind me to the left or to the west. But I did want to show you guys that sometimes the map does that, and then sometimes it could be behind you to the left, so it can happen like that. In this case, though, it was directly behind us and to the left, so that's a good instance of where you'd probably want to go behind you and to the left if the map pulls you to the right like that. See if we can get a couple of more interesting scenarios here. Some things that might help you guys find it in the future. Alright, let's see here. One thing to note also is that if you want to farm Mephisto quickly, before you reload into the next game, I recommend going to Act 4 through the red portal. I'll show that again this time. I think I showed it a couple times in the beginning, because that will make it easier to hit the Act 4 waypoint, and make it easier to access the waypoint, and then go to Durance. That's a nice little tip or trick there. But anyway, so now there's nothing to the side of us. There's nothing to the side of us. Okay, so this whole one's pointing this way, where I'm walking. So then we're going to be searching directly to the west. It wasn't in this case. Might be up here and to the left or to the west. Not up here. To the left and to the west. Not here. To the left and to the west. Okay, so it's all the way up here. But once again, we only traverse probably like 20% of the map. And this method works every time. So you go this way. This is how this block is facing. This rectangle is facing this way, to the left or to the west. Alright. So in this map, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to navigate Durance 2. So Durance 2 is pointing in the same direction as Durance 3, the block is. So if I immediately enter Durance 2, I can use that knowledge to find Durance 3 because the block is pointing in the same direction. So in this case, it's pointing this way. That means that if we go straight from how it's pointing, we're probably likely to find Durance 1. And of course, the entrance to Durance 2. This block is facing in the same direction. That's not it. Let's see. This block, no, that's not quite it. Okay. Oh, interesting. Might be somewhere in the middle, so that can happen too. It can be a west or a left-facing block, and it can be somewhere in the middle of the map. Now, that's pretty rare. So even with all this map knowledge, sometimes you can get screwed over. Like, let's say it's pointing this way. You get like a left-facing block somewhere like in there. You could. It can happen. And in that case, you're likely to 100% the map anyway, but it's a very rare scenario, and it's the least common map spawn. So in that case, you know, you just kind of have to suck it up and just accept that you got a bad map. And that does happen sometimes. Alright, anyway, so in this case, you can see here, though, that this block here is pointing in the same direction as this block. In this case, you know, they're pretty far away, and they're not, like, directly in front of each other. Sometimes, if this block is pointing in this direction, you just get a exit to Durance 3, or an entrance to Durance 3. It's pointing in the same direction, like, directly in front of it sometimes. And in this case, though, it's just pointing in the same direction, and it's here. So in general, if I was coming through Durance 1, I wanted to find Durance 3, I would go straight ahead. But then, immediately, I'd start looking for blocks that are facing in the same direction, relatively straight ahead, and then I'd probably find it like that. That's usually how that would go. Another thing to mention is that from the entrance to Durance 2, which is right here, the waypoint is also facing to the west or to the left, the block, relative to the entrance itself. So this whole block here, this whole area, this whole rectangle is facing this way, where my sorceress is walking and where I'm pointing. That means that if I entered through here, immediately I'd try to go to the left and I would find the waypoint. So that's just how you do it every time. It would be a west or a left facing block, but once again, sometimes it could be to the right and to the left of it. It could be up here, it could be up here. This one was just a lot simpler to demo that with. Alright, so then I guess we can do like maybe a couple more demos. There's just a lot of scenarios where, you know, I like to show you guys that this way of finding it is going to save so much time, and that, you know, it's reliable. We're not full of crap. This is how it works. Map hack in your brain. Let's go. Okay, so once again, I try to check around me immediately, because sometimes it can be facing to the left or to the west of this block. This block here, this whole rectangle here is facing up this way. But it could be back here and to the left. It could be over here and facing to the left. It's not. We're going to go straight ahead and go to the left. That's going to be the most efficient way to find it most of the time. Most of the time, that's how it's going to be. Okay, but it's not. Oh, wait, yeah, it is. Okay, so sometimes the map might start veering off to the right, and then you can follow it to the right, and it could be like up here and to the left or something. But in this case, we didn't have to go too far. So it started veering off to the right, and this block is facing to the left or this way up here. So it is facing in the correct direction. You follow my mouse. This is how that starting block is facing. And then you're going to be looking for a block facing this way, how my cursor is pointing. And sure enough, it is. It's facing that way. That's how you find it every time. And as you can see, we save so much time knowing this. So much time. Let's try like one or two more times, and I think that'll be it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give us a like and subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, thought it was going to help you for the Ladder 1 of D2R. Ladder 1, April 28th, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Once again, I am going hard personally, going to 99 on hardcore. Hopefully with the sorceress, and we have a dedicated team. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can always catch me at www.twitch.tv/darkhumility for dedicated Diablo 2 action all the time. Alright, so anyway, we're going this way. This whole block is facing this way. So I'm going to go immediately to try to find a west or a left facing block relative to the block there. It's not up there, so we're just going to go teleporting to the left. And nothing there. Let's not die. Bam. Okay, so there you go. We got a block that's facing to the west or to the left relative to the starting block. And there you have it. Most of the time, you want to teleport to the left after checking your immediate area around the waypoint. And most of the time, that's how it's going to be. If the whole map veers to the right, you can check up and to the left. Maybe just keep following it to the right. Or you can check immediately behind you and to the left, because the map might be mostly behind you, especially if it's immediately to the right after exiting the starting area. And we also showed how to find the waypoint in Durance 3 from the Durance 2 entrance. So, good stuff. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. You can always check out all my guides here and on d2.maxwell.gg. We got all kinds of build guides, all kinds of full, in-depth commentaries and explanations. But yeah, I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Dark Humility. Over now.